All right, we got a very special guest in the building, everybody. We got the beast from the Middle East himself. I'm very excited to have you here. Welcome to the broadcast. What's good?
Hasan, man, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I saw your Piers Morgan interview.
Yeah.
A while back. This is Dr. Beast, the real Mr. Beast. Okay,
Yeah.
not Jimmy Donaldson, but the real Mr. Beast himself. He is beast mode. Hold on, you want to stand up for a second? I want to show how big you are. Here, look at this. That's crazy.
Well, I enjoy my mum's cooking. I played rugby professionally back in the day. So I played for the England students team while I was at med school, and then I did jiu-jitsu and MMA. I think I got a double gold European title as a blue belt, and then I got a world bronze medal.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then I decided to focus on medicine. And then yeah.
You've lived a crazy life.
Yeah.
You want to get us started. Like,
well, I'm a refugee, so I was a Palestinian refugee. My dad was born in Gaza. My mum was a Palestinian refugee born in Jordan, and then I was born in Mecca, and then I moved to the UK when I was 4 years old. Grew up there, and then went to medical school at Liverpool. Played professional rugby, got injured, started doing jiu-jitsu.
You don't have the Scouser accent though.
I've got a bit of a Scouse twang. There's a bit of a Scouse twang there.
Yeah. Say can of Coke.
Canna Googlad.
Yeah, can of Coke, lad.
Canna Googlad.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then from there, like, I've done a lot of stuff, but that's probably because I'm just a jack of all trade, master of none.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when I saw the hat, I thought you're Australian.
Yeah, I just because obviously, like, I want to try and fit in, so I decided to wear this Australian hat, real Australian leather, by the way.
Yeah.
Just to look more Australian, but
it works.
I can't hide the Arab. The Arab face is so prominent in me.
You could pull off, like, I think. White people don't really know. They could see you and be like, you might be Samoan or something.
Yeah, mate, I get that all the time, especially when I go bald, skinhead.
Yeah, it
can get pretty intimidating.
Well, it's cool. You're brown enough that if you go bald, they won't think you're racist.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
I
true.
feel like I look too white. If I go bald, people are like, oh, that's a Nazi.
Yeah,
but
you have that shape head. There's definitely that shape head.
Anyway, so you went to medical school.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, you decided that you saw all of the horrifying things that were happening, and you decided to go to Gaza.
But honestly, man, Hasan, it was weird for me because obviously, like, I've got family in Gaza. My uncle's in Gaza, my auntie, my cousins. Just to give you an idea, like, I'd go to Gaza and there would be family members that would come visit me, and they would show me pictures that they took of my mum and dad's wedding.
Yeah.
Like from 35, 40 years ago. So, like, I'd never seen that. And my grandma, before I went to Gaza, my grandma had passed away. And there was a woman in the hospital that I saw, and it was one of the kids. And this kid was actually related to me that I was treating in one of the hospitals in Gaza. And her grandma came, and her grandma looked exactly like my grandma. It turned out to be my grandma's sister.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I was meeting family members that I was just, like, blown away. So, it was a bit of a surreal experience for me because, like, not only am I going to Gaza, which is my home, but I'm going there as a British Australian doctor.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm also there in these mass casualty events. I've got family members coming in.
Yeah.
Instead of going back home to the safe house or sleeping in the hospital, I'm going and staying at my uncle's house or my auntie's house. And the whole neighborhood's getting bombed and things like that. And obviously, I'm not following any protocol. I'm just chilling with families. I got to experience the real Gaza civilian life, and man, it was nuts, man. Absolutely crazy.
I've interviewed Feroz Sidwo before, and he's
the
American.
most beautiful voice.
Yeah, he's got a great voice, and he's an American, so it's like a little bit different.
Yeah,
do you feel like your experience, like, clearly your experience is different as like as a part of the international medical community that goes in to offer aid to a population that is being starved, a population that is withstanding genocide.
Yeah. Being
a Palestinian, I feel like you had a different experience than other people.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was, a lot of those kids that came in, they looked like me. I've got a big nose and I look Ghazawi, right? When I'm there, most of the time, most people didn't believe I was a foreign doctor. They thought I was more well fed than anybody else there.
Yeah.
You know, that was probably the only thing that gave me away. But like, you know, they all thought that I was Ghazawi. So when you'd have these kids coming in and they look like me when I was a kid, when you have kids coming in that share you're the same family name as you, it hits a bit different. You know,
Yeah.
when you talk about these doctors when they come in and they tell you how about like kids were dying on the floor and this and that, it's different when it's your people. It's different when it's your family. You know, it's different when you have to make a decision and you have to step over someone that's related to you in some way.
Yeah.
That's something that a lot of these doctors, when they go to Gaza, they don't have that experience.
Yeah.
And obviously being a British voice, an Australian voice, a Western voice, going to a place like that, you can relay the stories of the people in Gaza a lot differently from a different experience. But, you know, it just, man, I was there for some of the worst mass casualty events. I was there, you know, when they rescued the 4 hostages.
Yeah.
And they killed like 1,400.
Rescued. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they killed hostages that day as well. But
Yeah.
they killed 1,400 people. Killed and injured 1,000. And I was there for that day. I was there when the ceasefire broke this time around.
Yeah.
When they killed 200 children in an hour and a half. I mean, we're talking about like some of the worst. We're talking about some of the worst.
Wait. You're, yeah.
Sorry.
I was
man.
worried it was gonna like leak something. You good?
Yeah, man. I don't know what that was.
No, it's
Put it
all
on
good.
silent. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like, you know, like some of these mass casualty events, you know, I remember like that day where the ceasefire broke and you would have, I had a woman who'd come in and she literally had her kids or what remained of them in a plastic bag and brought them in plastic bags. And, you know, you just sat there and you know, you think to yourself, what am I doing? What's going on here? You know, bombs are going off everywhere. Kids are coming in plastic bags, melted, the disfigurement, people with 80% body burns, children with 80% body burns. There's no painkillers, none.
Yeah.
And you're watching these kids, you know, I remember the first time I went, there was this woman that was so badly burnt. I didn't even know she was a woman. She was that badly burnt. Her face was burnt. Her hair was burnt. It was only when we cut open whatever remained of her clothes, you know, that I realized that it was a woman. But she was alive and that badly burnt and her eyelids had been burnt off. And, do you know, I remember just telling the doctor next to me, because we didn't have any ventilators, but I just said to him, look, man, whatever we've got to put her in a medically induced coma. There is no way we can keep her awake in this level of pain.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and this is happening every day in Gaza. And I think the worst thing about it, right, is for me, because I went in there in 2024 and then I went back in 2025, all the horrors that you saw in 2024, when you come back in 2025 and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And you think, I've been gone for a whole year and it's the same freaking thing over and over and over again. And, you know, you'd see kids with, you know, being shot in the head. You would see kids being shot in the neck. And, you know, the stories that the families would tell you, they would say that like the drone would fly into the house through a window, because obviously all the windows are destroyed. And it would literally shoot one person and it would be the youngest child in the house and it would fly away. I mean, which sick... I mean, I don't want to swear on your stream, but like,
You can swear if you want. It's fine.
you know, but which sick motherfucker would do this to a child?
Yeah.
Who would go in there and purposely target the youngest child while they're eating whatever little food there is? I mean, honestly, man, you do not know how scary it is as well when you're in Gaza. Like the hospitals, when I was there, the hospital was bombed while we were in it. The paramedics were executed. The UN safe house was bombed and international aid workers were killed. Journalists were burnt alive in their tents. I mean, it was just, you know,
Yeah.
it's insane, man.
And seemingly, it's only intensified,
Yeah.
and there's no accountability whatsoever for the state of Israel, and not only that, but also our governments are aiding and abetting Israel in the process. I mean, the British government is directly offering F-35 components that are being used. The British government is offering constant surveillance and new targeting opportunities for the Nazi state, and all the while they're also actively trying to suppress people that see what Israel is doing and feel horrified by this and want it to stop. They're trying to after they prescribed Palestine Action in the UK as a terrorist organization, they started throwing 84-year-old pensioners in
Holocaust
jail.
survivors in jail.
Yeah, Holocaust survivors in jail. It's completely It's just so insane. And I think like in some ways it's more honest.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's become this unavoidable reality, and it's very clear that the Western governments and their approach to it is to basically silence people into submission with the hopes that they will, with the hopes they'll shut up, with the hopes that they won't make a big fuss about it. While on the other side, the pressure is amounted to an undeniable degree where they have to do something. So they offer like state recognition to Palestine.
But we're going to give Israel another couple of months to destroy whatever remains of this state before we recognize it. And we recognize it under how many terms? You know, one of this, in Australia, one of the terms of recognition is that the education program in Palestine needs to be reformed. So it's that same racist trope that, they teach the Palestinians to hate them. Like, so they're having a genocide committed against them, and they're saying, no, you guys need to learn to love them.
Yeah.
And that's how we'll give you a state. You need to learn to love the people that are committing a genocide to you. And we can't give you a state because you don't love them. Yeah, they've destroyed your home, they've killed your mom and dad, but because you don't love them, I can't help you.
Yeah, it's also basically the hidden the hidden underlying premise that like that you kind of deserve it. It's the same thing with like, do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? Like Hamas is barbarity. Hamas is barbarity. October 7th. Like in order for you as a Palestinian to be able to make a convincing case about the humanity of other Palestinians that you treated in Gaza, you have to first like play this song and dance. How does that make you feel? Because I know there was a very viral clip of that I first saw with you talking to Piers Morgan, and Piers is let's just say an interesting character here, but he still does that same thing where he's like, well, don't you feel like the Palestinians kind of deserve it?
I mean, look, you get that all the time because you have to be the perfect victim. But look, it's an interesting thought, but I want to hold that thought right there, and I just want to touch something which I think is important. They want us to be the perfect victims in order for us to be given any kind of sympathy. Even children in Palestine aren't the perfect victims because they're human shields. Yeah. Because, they're taught to hate from the age of 3, right? So what I'm saying is you'll never ever be able to fulfill that potential to be a perfect victim. So there's no point in playing into the narrative. And that's what I went in with Piers Morgan. I was like, I'm just not going to play into the narrative and the tap and dance about being a perfect victim because I don't need to be a perfect victim to have sympathy, right? I also, can have sympathy for Israelis, even though they're killing my family. I can still have sympathy for some of them, and I can still have sympathy for the humanity of people, right? Yeah. That's just what being a human is. However, there's no sympathy even for children in Palestine. But the point that I want to make about all of this is, even as a movement, as a pro-Palestine movement, right, you have to be the perfect activist. And what we do to each other in the pro-Palestine movement is when we start shooting at each other and essentially firing off, this person, boycott this person, he's not allowed to talk with us. Yeah. Because you have to be the perfect activist. If you don't say the right thing about Israel, if you don't say the right thing in this particular interview, if you don't have this soundbite, all of a sudden you're cancelled. You're now a closet Zionist and you're helping, but that's what happens. I'm sure you get criticized a lot.
I not that much, but yeah, there are definitely people every now and then that will say those things. But I mean, it's ultimately, I don't know. I see it as like meaningless wrecker behavior and completely avoidable in general because like it's so marginal and so inconsequential as opposed to the faucet of deplatforming initiatives and slanders and lies and smears that I receive from Zionists. So I don't really care when people talk shit and say I'm like pro-Israel in any capacity. It's just a funny thing I think to say.
No, look, maybe for you, maybe because you're at such a level now where your voice is so important and you've been on the record for so many years that people can't. But for someone like me who's just got this like bit of a following and prominence, you get so many people attacking me, and I'm like, guys, I'm a Gazan refugee. Like
I mean, you're literally you are Palestinian.
Yeah, like I've had dozens of my family members killed in this one. Yeah, I've had dozens of family members killed in 2014. Do you know, like it's and then people still want to question your loyalty and where you lie and things like that. Like, we'll never ever be free unless we start like looking at ourselves and going that you can have different opinions on what you think should and shouldn't be the Palestinian movement, and they can both still be right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that we don't seem to have that in the Palestinian movement. It's pretty bad.
I mean, but ultimately, I think like the North Star always is like the emancipation of Palestinians. 100%. So like that does whip people back into shape fairly quickly because
100%.
I think that stems from that kind of like cannibalization stems from powerlessness. It exists in every progressive movement.
Horizontal violence.
Yeah. Where people are just like, we can't make anything happen. So I might as well like turn my crosshairs within and try to feel like I have some control over this
100%,
narrative,
100%.
which is unproductive.
Yeah.
So, but that's precisely the reason why I don't like offer it any air whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because it's... people are, as long as my guiding star on this is basically as long as you're still actively participating in anti-Zionist action,
100%,
and you know, doing broad awareness,
100%,
and protesting in the streets, like it's fine.
Yeah.
And I also even offer a similar level of grace to people who, no matter how long it's been, have changed their mindset and are now
100%.
actively atoning for like
100%
past statements that they've made, because like I think that's overall more productive. It's more productive because like we need the numbers no matter what.
Yeah, instead of chastising, because you know, like you know, if you've believed in something for your whole life, right?
Yeah.
You've believed that this was a land without a people for people without a land, and Palestinians are all barbaric and this, that, and the other. To switch that on its head and suddenly begin to question it, like you're maybe going to have family conflicts, you're maybe going to have to lose your social status with your friends, and that is a large price that these people have to pay, and they're not going to have the same viewpoint as I am. But I was born as a refugee. I lived a life of poverty. I've had to watch my family killed. I can't expect somebody who's lived that life so far away to have the same viewpoint as me within a matter of weeks or days since they first came to it. So I think like you say,
no, it takes time.
It takes time. You've got to show people a bit of grace.
Yeah, I think, I don't even like yell at people that don't have that grace for those who have just like only recently turned or have like a very have a more pessimistic attitude towards it, or assume that they're doing it for some cynical purpose like ass covering or whatever. I understand where they're coming from, but in most circumstances, if the person that's making this criticism is like not Palestinian, then I'm like, dude, come on, like you live in America, or you live in the Western world. Like, what do you mean? Like you yourself arrived at these positions by, you know, doing the reading, or maybe you were fortunate enough to be born into a family that was more progressive or something. But like ultimately, you always have to have the understanding that like the audience that you're communicating to is going to have. The audience that you're communicating to is going to have a lot of blind spots on this. And it's like such a utterly immoral, unconscionable level of violence that I totally understand why people go, how the fuck do you not see it? But there is an endless multi-billion-dollar propaganda apparatus
100%.
and that actively seeks to normalize what Israel is doing with regular frequency, or at least like just shelter the public from the truth and why it's happening, because the State Departments, our own American and British and Australian governments are also culpable in this process.
Yeah, 100%. And look, you know, I'm a Gazawi Palestinian, and if I see this celebrity that wants to talk about Palestine, even if it's for clout, right? Yeah, for me, the way I look at it is like, I was on the ground there in Gaza. I was there in these mass casualty events. I was stepping over children bleeding out to death. I was carrying limbs of children and handing them to mothers so they can identify whether that was their child or not, right? Yeah. To me, I don't care who's speaking out and for what reason, just speak out, stop the bloodshed. After the bloodshed stops, then we can start talking about, who's genuine, who's not. But right now, we've got a genocide and we've got to stop this genocide, because there's going to be no generation left.
Yeah.
In order to save, there's going to be no Palestine left.
Yeah.
You know, so like, this is what I mean about people coming in and critiquing everyone and this, that, and the other. I'm like, guys, let's just, we're literally got somebody saying they want to starve 1 million children to death.
Yeah.
And you're arguing about whether this guy's doing it for clout or not. I don't care. Is he doing it? Yeah, he is. All right, let's keep moving forward.
Yeah, no, I have a very similar outlook to you on this. 100%. He's just, it's ridiculous. I feel like to try to actively stop people from being loud voices and as a part of this, even if it's for like cynical reasons. It doesn't matter, especially at a time when, like, you know, there are still very significant penalties for those who, for whatever reason,
100%.
come out and say something. Unless it's like my red line on this is Bono. Like the way that he came out and was like, "Oh, October 7." I was like, "Well, fuck you. You're a fucking piece of shit."
Oh, when he was release Israel, release Netanyahu, release him where? Like to the Hague?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like what do you mean release him? Like it's just it's so passive.
Like
the language is so passive.
Yeah, no, he's a real piece of shit. You know, like that's
well,
like,
look, it was unforgivable when he made everybody download his album on that iPhone. I mean, that was that. I mean, listen, man, that was unforgivable.
Yeah,
I remember
that already was the reason why I fucking hated him, and then this gave me additional ammunition.
You know, it was funny because
my
dad doesn't know how to use technology at all. I remember when he bought that phone, and then it was the Bono thing, and he would just the anger that I saw out of my father just for like, switch this thing off. How can we delete? We can't even delete.
Yeah,
his bloody album. Oh, it was awful, man.
Yeah,
but yeah, you're totally right. Like, you know, people like that, man. There's differences, right? Yeah, when somebody just feels like they have to talk about it, they feel like the space is open now for them to say something. Cool, man. I get it. You don't have to be brave. You don't have to go to Gaza and risk your life. You don't have to give up your career. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't expect everyone to value, you know, black and brown lives. You know what I mean? As much as I do, per se. But that's just the way the world is. But, you know, interestingly, what you were saying about the propaganda, right? Yeah. The propaganda isn't just anti-Palestinian propaganda. It's anti-Muslim propaganda, right? You know, there was 1 million people that they killed in Iraq, right? The propaganda that they used to justify that war in Iraq and the killing of 1 million civilians in Iraq, we don't even talk about it. We don't even talk about the fact that sanctions in the 90s in Iraq killed 500,000 babies. And I think it was like, was it
Madeleine Albright?
Yeah, said it was justified.
Yeah.
Right? So we have, as a society, we've made it okay to kill 1 million Muslims in an illegal war that we admit is an illegal war. So, you know, this thing about like what's happening to the Palestinians, it's not just anti-Palestinian racism. It's Islamophobia. It's this anti-Muslim rhetoric. It's, you know, Charlie Kirk saying that Mamdani is a Muslim and he shouldn't be, you know, mayor of New York because look what happened to New York in 2001.
Yeah. No, it's pure unfiltered racism. I mean, I'm pretty privileged. Like I look white. You know, if people didn't know my background, they, you know, I could get away with saying that my name is Hank or whatever. And I speak on a lot of issues, right? I speak on transphobia. I speak on anti-black racism. I speak on migrant rights. And whenever I speak about those things, or whenever I speak about like misogyny and you know, anti-feminist movements, people don't expect that kind of sentiment from someone who looks like me. Right. But this is the one issue where if I speak about the humanity of Arabs, the humanity of Muslims, and the Palestinian plight, people immediately go, "Oh, it's because you're fucking Muslim." Like, and instantly they're like, "You're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. Someone should do something about this. Someone should do something about you. You should go to prison." Or it's justified when I get detained by Customs and Border Patrol. And it's something that could impact them as well, right? Because this is an administration that's very clearly actively trying to suppress any sort of political dissidence from happening. Yeah. And they don't even realize that like it could harm them in the future as well in the same exact ways. But they turn around and they say, no, this was a good thing that they did because
the hate is the hate is so much that they're willing to shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
They're willing to cut off their nose to spite you. Do you know, this is like, that's what I always just find fascinating is like, why do you hate Muslims? So, like, what do you know about Muslims, right? Yeah. Like, let's say, for example, you're like one of these far-right Christian nationalists, right? Yeah, who hates Muslims because you feel like it's a clash of civilizations, right? Yeah. What does the Quran say about Jesus? What does it say about Mary? What's the level of respect? You know, when they talk about when they watch the Olympic Games, remember the one in France, and the opening ceremony was the Last Supper. And, you know, they were like going, look, they're
Muslims have more reverence for Jesus than a lot of Christians who are now atheists do.
I've never seen a Muslim country mock Jesus before. I've never seen a following, practicing Muslim mock Jesus or the Virgin Mary or anything like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never, and it's like Jesus is Palestinian. Jesus probably looked like, probably someone like me from that part of the world, from Judea and Samaria.
Wait, he wasn't blonde with blue eyes? That's crazy.
Yeah, but
That's what I thought.
But this is what I mean. Like, when they banned Syrian refugees from coming to America, because they did that when they banned Syrian refugees. Well, technically, Jesus was a Syrian refugee that made his way. Joseph, and it's like, it's like, it's beauty in the tongue when they preach these verses, but it's hate in the heart. And I never understand it, man. Like, I never understand this level of hate and animosity to a religion that you don't understand, to a group of people that like are, they're not causing all this mass violence in the world. I mean, if Muslims had 2 million Jews locked in a concentration camp, cutting off food and water and bombing them mercilessly or whatever, we would be saying, oh, they're doing this because they're Muslims.
Yeah. Well, also, they would literally turn around and say, this is the Holocaust happening again.
Yeah.
But when there's a role reversal with a tremendous amount of propaganda, people go, oh, I don't know, maybe they kind of deserve it. And that's where a lot of that like condemnation of any sort of resistance against imperialism in the region comes from, where a big part of why many Americans, at least in my experience, many white boys who are like, well, what Israel's doing is pretty bad, but I fucking hate this guy in particular. That comes from my contextualization and my analysis surrounding militant formations against American and Israeli imperialism in the region. Like settler colonial violence is always going to create a resistance network. And not only is there a resistance network, in many circumstances that resistance is legal. Like it's literally legal under international law.
Yeah. But it's interesting because the suppression isn't just to Palestinian people. The suppression is the surrounding neighbors as well, to keep Israel safe, to keep Israel's dominance. The suppression is propping up all of these dictators in the Middle East. And any dictator that goes against the status quo gets eliminated, whether it's a Gaddafi or King Faisal in Saudi Arabia when we cut off the oil. Anybody that stands up to this is going to be executed or overthrown, or but if you're not, because for example, when Trump cut off international aid for all the countries, which countries did he not cut off aid for? Israel, Jordan, and Egypt. The two countries that share a border with Israel. Why? To make sure that those populations didn't rise up because of the atrocities going on in Gaza and then cause a problem on the borders to Israel. So like, the Israel thing, the Palestine thing isn't just the suppression of Palestinians. It's the suppression of everybody in the region. So Palestinians keep getting suppressed. And that's why what you're watching in Gaza, the atrocities that are happening in Gaza, they feel, whether they want to admit it or not, that it is necessary in order to send a message to the whole region that you can't be free. And if you try to be free, look what we're going to do to you. And if the Palestinians and the people of Gaza get their freedom, if this global movement works and they get their freedom, what message does that send out to the whole Middle East? That actually, you know what, you could rise up. And if this group of, prisoners for 20 years with, nothing but rocks and just their iPhones can stop the largest and most powerful military backed by the greatest military might in human history, then why can't you overthrow your king and get your freedom? And what happens then is there's a free Middle East, and a free Middle East is the linchpin. It's the linchpin of controlling the East that meets the West, and it's this control of trade and resources and oil and influence and dominance, because this is what decimates 25% of the world's population, which are Muslim. So like, Palestine and Gaza, and this is why like it's so embroiled and impassioned with so many people, because a free Palestine means a free Middle East, and a free Middle East means a free Muslim world, and that is a threat.
It's a threat to capital owners and American dominance in general, because American interference in this region in particular has been very deliberate, very directional. Israel's existence plays a formative role in this as well, where it's a constant destabilizing presence that is a domineering force over every other country, like you explained, so that we can still control OPEC Plus to the best of our ability. And it's obvious that many of these Gulf nation states are perfectly willing to play ball.
Yep.
As long as they get their military, which again is another vehicle to suppress any sort of public presence, any sort of rebellion, and thwart it before it actually causes instability for American interests in these countries. Well, and that's it.
The thing is the Arabs, right? They are so bad at doing wars and militaries, right?
Yeah.
Because their militaries are never designed to win a war. The militaries of these Arab nations, the reason why when there was like the 6-day war and about 7 Arab countries lost to one country, the reason is because these Arab countries and their militaries are not designed for wars. They're designed to occupy civilians. They're designed to suppress civilians. That's what the command structure is. It's nepotism. It's the fact that like there's a dictator in charge that you can't go and show that you've got critical thinking skills. If you do, that is punished because people or the dictators see that as a threat. It is that when it's the propaganda that's filled in their military schools to make sure that you get like Saddam Hussein, like their military schools, they used to teach them how amazing Saddam Hussein was and how he made no mistakes in the Iran war. So it's very basic level of training these things. The idea of these militaries in the Middle East is to suppress their own population. It's not defense. It's not offense. It's to suppress. And, that's why they're powerless. That's why you're watching what's going on in Gaza. No one can do anything about it in the Middle East. Yeah. No one can raise a finger because their militaries are just there to protect the thrones and not the actual civilian population, or not to have any kind of influence in the region.
And it's also, you play ball with the West and Western interests, and you keep quiet about the atrocities, you keep quiet about the genocide, and you even offer protection to the Israeli state with those Western weapons from time to time.
Yep.
And they'll let you get foreign capital flowing into your country. They'll normalize and allow you to whitewash and launder your reputation in the Western world. And I think it's still ultimately very short-sighted.
It is.
It is very short-sighted, and this is not something that is sustainable in general.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. But I do get a lot of confidence from even the Western world now recognizing, like the populations now recognizing the unimaginable cruelty of Israel.
Yeah.
So even in the United States of America, which is the most valuable, most significant ally to Israel, which I would say is Israel's more so an extension of America.
It is, yeah.
Rather than Israel controlling America in the way that some people presented.
Yeah.
Our population is waking up to this reality, and I think that's why you just have to keep protesting and keep applying pressure and become an undeniable force for humanity that causes this administration, our administrations, to recalculate this like dangerous allegiance, recalculate this like endless military occupation.
Because like ultimately, like what does it do? Like, if you were to give the Middle East its freedom, right? Yeah. They're not gonna be these bad. They want the same thing that me and you want. They want their kids to go to school. They want them to have a good education. They want to live in homes that are nice. They want to have clean running water. They want to have safe societies. Like they just want to live their lives like everybody else. If you were to give them that freedom, they're not going to stop trading with you. They're not going to stop giving you the resources that you want.
But they will become equal partners, which is very terrifying.
And that's the problem. Like what
it's the same with Iran. The Iranian, the pre-revolution Iran, like when Mossadegh came to power, it's not like he was hyper invested in like complete nationalization of the oil refineries. They just wanted to recalculate like how hard British petroleum was fucking them over. And even that was a bridge too far. So they immediately fucking couped him and created mass destabilization, and then put the Shah in charge. Like that, and of course that created tremendous resentment because it was a very brutal rule. And they fought back, and then you had the Iranian Revolution, and there's like a lot of issues that came after that as well. But like ultimately, it wasn't even about like any sort of dominance.
No,
it was simply to become even partners, to have some semblance of sovereignty, to have some
Exactly.
semblance of autonomy
Exactly.
over your own natural resources. And that was a
100%.
bridge too far for the Western supremacists.
100%. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, and again, it comes back down to that, like that racism of like, we are not allowed to sit at the same table. You know, we're not allowed to be an equal partner at the same table. How dare we decide what we do with our resources? How dare we talk from a position where we can actually be equals? And, you know, for most people, like they don't realize that. But I think what's happening now in Gaza, I think people have begun to see like even the subconscious racism that they've had and bias that they've had towards Muslims, and they see what's happening in Gaza, and people are beginning to rethink that. You're seeing students at like Harvard and Princeton who are like, you know, 3 months away, 4 months away from finishing their degree, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and getting suspended for some Arabs in the Middle East, losing their entire, you know, job prospectus, going to jail, maybe getting deported for a bunch of Arabs, for a bunch of people that they don't share the same religion as, they don't look like them, and they don't even share the same ethnicity as them.
And they've been conditioned into like thinking are like a violent force, a barbaric violent force their whole lives. Like being able to reverse that trend is actually is incredible in such a short period of time.
And you know the irony of all of this, and I always think there's always poetic justice in everything that's going on, right? Because the irony of it is like they've occupied Gaza, or they want to occupy Palestine, but they might occupy Palestine, but Palestine has occupied everyone's hearts.
Yeah.
It's in the hearts and minds everywhere now. And the more they occupy of Palestine and Gaza, the more Palestine and Gaza occupies everyone's hearts. And they cannot defeat that. No matter how many battles they win on the battlefield, they have lost the war. The war is over. And it's just now, it's a matter of when they put their hands up and say, yep, we are lost, we're done.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's going to be at its most violent in the last stages. And this is where most of the killing will get done and most of the atrocities. And we're watching it. You know, when you think it can't get worse in Gaza, and it just gets worse.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's going on right now.
Speaking of which, this is some new developments that took place.
Is this when the double strike?
Yeah, just as we were talking about. This is double striking is a practice that's like obviously illegal, where you bomb an area, and then when the emergency teams come in to save people from the rubble, you bomb the emergency teams. This is something that Israel does with
Did it in Lebanon
Yeah.
just like a few months ago.
They do a regular frequency, and the craziest part about this is that this was Nasser Hospital, and Israel double strike the Nasser Hospital while the Al Jazeera team there was broadcasting in real time.
So the Al Jazeera team was broadcasting, but the journalists that they killed were actually working for Western organizations.
Yeah.
That's why Israel, instead of saying, oh, they were Hamas operatives or whatever, they've come out and said, oh, no, this was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because they were working for Western
outlets.
Outlets, yeah.
Yeah.
After 10 a.m. Gaza time, this is the Reuters news agency live shot, filmed from high up on Khan Yunis's Nasser Hospital. Suddenly the image freezes, the sound drops. And this is why an Israeli strike on the building, witnesses say by a suicide drone, has killed the Reuters cameraman Hussam al-Masri.
The Western outlet.
Chaos as the injured are brought inside the hospital, which has once again been targeted.
They killed 20 people.
Outside, more journalists and emergency workers are scrambling up the stairs to the site of the blast, just below the roof. One man lifts up the equipment al-Masri was using. Journalist, he shouts.
The same equipment I use, like that there. It's just like these guys are just professional news broadcasters that are experiencing a genocide, trying to survive through it, and also to show the devastating realities of their everyday existence. And then Israel punishes them for that crime. Israel treats journalism like a crime. Yeah. Use a suicide drone on a group of very clearly marked media members for the 200th time. Just a mistake. Killed civilians for the hundreds of thousands of times. Oops, just a mistake. It's
like
just,
when they killed the World Central Kitchen workers, mistake. When they killed the paramedics, mistake. When they bombed the UN safe house and killed international, mistake.
Yeah.
You know, when they kill those children waiting in line, mistake. And look, they're going to investigate themselves. and the investigation is going to go nowhere, and everyone's going to forget about it in the news cycle.
Yeah, because they're going to move on to the next
atrocity.
mass slaughter.
Yeah, the next atrocity.
Yeah, and of course, the mistake part is also on the Western Front.
Yeah,
because like those of us who are familiar with the way that Israel does Hasbara know that in the Western world, when they're doing English language communication, it's very different attitude. When it's in Hebrew media, with the exception of like maybe Haaretz.
Oh no, they're loving this.
Yeah, they will openly be like, no, we just eliminated terrorists.
Yeah,
they were terrorists and we eliminated them.
Well, that's what they said about this one.
Yeah,
there was a channel, I think the Hebrew Israeli channel 14, and the guy was saying, "Why are we apologizing for this? Let's just deny it. Let's just say they were Hamas operatives.
Yeah,
why are we apologizing? We should never apologize."
Yeah, here's Yuval Abraham from Plus 972 magazine. Netanyahu just said the attack on journalists at Nasser Hospital was the result of a tragic mishap. A copy-paste of what he said when 45 Palestinians were burned alive in a Rafah camp housing refugees. It's just over and over again.
And then he says, we don't target journalists. And it's just like, you've killed more journalists than any
other conflict in history. Like, it's like it combined post-World War II, number of journalists killed in active conflicts is a lower number than what Israel has done in the last 2 years of its ethnic cleansing campaign. In English, Israel calls double tapping a hospital a mistake. In Hebrew, Israel brags about bombing Nasser Hospital twice and murdering 4 journalists. That's there, calling them all terrorists. Exactly.
That's what I said. Yeah, they just double speak all the time. And the fact that Western media outlets cannot report this and just say to an Israeli spokesman, "Well, you're saying this, but your channel in Israel is saying this.
Yeah.
What's true here?"
Can you imagine they did this for Russia? Like, can you imagine if like when Russia bombs a fucking kindergarten or something in Ukraine, if they were like, oh well, we need to have Lavrov on immediately to contextualize why they had to bomb this kindergarten or something, and then just take for granted what the Russian government, what the Russian state's assessment is of the events, and they're just like, and they report it as though this was a valid military target.
Wow.
Well, Israel says this. Well, Russia says this. It's like. That double standard is so glaringly obvious.
Do you know as well, like because I worked at Nasser Hospital, the Nasser Hospital emergency department, you see 2,000 patients a day there.
I'm gonna grab a drink real quick.
Yeah. Well, look, Nasser Hospital, for people who don't know, 2,000 patients come in through those doors a day. Now, to put that into context, the busiest hospital in Australia would see 400 to 500 patients a day, and that'd be 400 to 500 patients, and they'd be fully staffed. At Nasser Hospital, you've got a few doctors seeing 2,000 patients with some of the most severe injuries and no equipment. And, they keep even when I was there, they were already reconstructing parts of Nasser Hospital that had been bombed. And now they just keep bombing it. And this is the largest hospital in the south. It's actually now in Gaza, the main hospital in Gaza, because they destroyed Al-Shifa.
Yeah.
This hospital. And they are systematically, because they bombed it a few weeks ago, they've bombed it again this time, they've taken out the surgical units. They are systemically taking down Nasser Hospital. And that is pretty much the last piece of hope. It's got the biggest and largest neonatal intensive care, the pediatric intensive care unit. Once that goes away, what's going to be left? Especially when they go into Gaza City and they destroy Rantisi Hospital, which is the specialist children's hospital. Then Nasser Hospital, which is the other major children's hospital or area of children, that's going to be destroyed as well.
Oh, you have an ABC documentary. I didn't see that.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Mo started filming in a war zone and now has the ear of world leaders.
Yeah. This was nuts.
Yeah, that's well, we'll take a look at it after, but I want to cover this new new and unfortunately all too common situation.
Shot by another Reuters cameraman, injured when the second strike comes in. This time a tank shell. The same moment at the hospital's main entrance. This man injured in the leg, scrambling to safety. And again from outside via the live broadcast of Al Ghad television.
Guys, stop asking me to offer my guest a drink. I already did, okay? Obviously. Do you want a drink? They're so fucking annoying. If you want water, there's water.
No, listen. I know he's not offering me a drink, guys, but what I'm going to offer him is...
Oh, God, here we go.
I'm going to offer him this Australian delicacy. Tim Tams. You've had these before, surely?
I have had Tim Tams. I've been to Australia before.
So these are like... These are the most delicious biscuits. Look, I got you all the different flavors.
I've even done a Tim Tam Slam before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm glad that you just didn't bring Vegemite.
I've got, yeah. Look, I got you two of the originals. You know what I mean? Because they're the faves, and I got you the caramel ones.
Thank you so much. Here it is.
So even though he's not offering me a drink, at least I'm offering him something. You know what I mean?
Now they're gonna cook me. Do you want a drink?
Do you know what's crazy as well? Is like like in America, like you have these like crazy flavors of drinks that we just don't have anywhere else in the world. So I'm always fascinated when I go into a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, we have a Dr. Pepper, 0 sugar. I got different kinds of Mountain Dew. I got Sunkist. Whatever you want. If you want something, I can get you.
No, it's all right. I'll go help myself soon enough.
Wait, that's crazy. No, don't do that. They're gonna cook me. Oh my god.
It's okay, Hasan.
Oh my
it's
god.
Okay. It's okay, man. I know you're running a tight ship here.
I told him. I was like, don't you dare
cutting corners and expenses.
I was like,
here.
you're a big boy. Don't you dare look at my fridge.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we got all the different chemicals in
Hasan
our,
said he'd
in our
take me out
drinks.
for dinner tonight anyway, so it's all good.
Yeah, I am going to eat eventually if you want some. I mean, I mostly just eat Mediterranean chicken.
I've got some money in my pocket, so I'll spot you some. Don't worry, bro. I'll pay for my half. I'll pay for my half.
That's crazy. That's crazy. My family's going to kill me. This is the
No,
most,
man, I'll pay for my half. Don't worry, man.
Like,
because you know what Arabs are like. I'm going to insist on paying anyway, so don't worry, Hasan, man. You won't even be.
I'm gonna get you the food.
Don't worry, man.
Crazy.
You won't pay. Don't worry, man. I got you, bro. Don't worry, man.
All right, let's now that we had like a little pause, let's get back to the horrifying.
Now that we laughed, let's go watch the genocide again.
Yeah.
Emergency crews clearly visible, then obscured by smoke and debris in the aftermath. 4 journalists and at least 1 emergency worker were killed in this second strike. Both targeted a part of the building often used by media, who frequently base themselves at Gaza's hospitals for the stories and for the relative, if at these moments, spurious sense of safety they can offer.
All of the journalists who report from that corner of the hospital work for international media outlets, which means the Israeli army has complete knowledge of who is there and when, yet they still decided to strike.
Among the journalists killed were the Reuters cameraman Hussam al-Masri, Mohammed Salama, who worked for Al Jazeera and Middle East Eye, Ahmed Abu Aziz, who also worked for Middle East Eye, and Mariam Daka, a freelancer who worked mainly for the Associated Press. 33-year-old Daka was a single mother of a young boy who'd been working recently on child malnutrition and had provided images for this program. Her cousin says she told Mariam not to climb the stairs.
She had a son, Gaith. He's in the UAE with his family. She sent him as soon as the war started. She was waiting for it to end so she could see him again.
Moz Abu Taha, the 5th journalist killed, remembered today by the hospital's head of pediatrics.
When I heard about Mu'adh, I cried like a child about him. Mu'adh is a friend. He's innocent. He never talk about politics. He never talk about something. He's just document the starvation and malnutrition.
The Israeli military said it would investigate the circumstances, but blamed Hamas for hiding among civilians.
Yeah. And then when I say they're fucking Nazis and have a supremacist Nazi state doing a live stream Holocaust, that becomes the problem. Not this, okay? Not these actions. You can only arrive at that conclusion if you just do not think that these people that you are watching get slaughtered are human beings. And a big part of that is the social conditioning that we talked about. Like the justifications for war on terror required endless amounts of propaganda to say like Arabs are barbaric and scary and monsters, and the only way that you saw Arabs were either like terrorists or you saw them as like collateral damage. Like that was the only reflection, an afterthought. And in spite of all of that, many people are seeing this reality now, at least. I've said from the start, like post October 7, if Western news actually reported on what Israel was doing in the same way that they do with like Russia's actions in Ukraine, for example, or just like with decency, with a little bit of truth, even the type of the type of coverage that they offer now, because the permission structure is expanded, right? You'd have grandmothers fucking taking it to the streets from the start. This would have been this would have been an unstoppable force, an unstoppable anti-war, anti-genocide force a couple months in. And that's precisely the reason why they didn't do it. And that's precisely the reason why they still, like in the BBC broadcast, go, well, what did Israel say? Why did they strike these journalists? Did they deserve it? Like they ask questions like that. Oh, also, yeah, I would turn your phone around because people can see it from this angle. Yeah, it's just, it's
Look, man, I'm just, it's hard for me to watch that, man, without breaking down, man. It's just, because we were there when they burnt the journalists alive in their tent. I was at the hospital when that happened.
Yeah.
And
Eslaia or no, that was before.
Al-Aqsa Hospital.
Oh, okay.
And even Anas, for example, right?
Yeah.
Anas came to the Baptist Hospital to report there, and I remember people telling me, Mo, do not do an interview with Anas, and do not get a picture taken with Anas, because if you do, the Israelis will ban you ever from coming back to Gaza. Like he's on their hit list, so if anyone does anything with him, or they see any of the doctors going and talking to him or doing any media with him, they'll ban you. So, I didn't take a photo with and obviously because at the time I was filming so much while I was in Gaza that a lot of people were worried for my safety while I was in Gaza because like I was going viral and I was reporting stuff. And I left my phone in Gaza. I didn't take it out with me because I thought, I'm going to get stopped at the border here and they're going to harass me and whatnot. But I remember just thinking to myself, like, now that I'm banned from going back to Gaza anyway, because I've spoken so much about what's happened in Gaza, I wish I did that interview with him. I wish I took that photo with him. And I wish, we talked obviously behind the camera and he asked me about what happened that night, because he saw some of the videos. And I remember just asking these journalists, like, are you not scared? And they would always reply the same thing to me, which was, we're already dead. We're already dead. He had his own obituary ready. He had his own message for his death. So, these people, like their mentality is totally different. They've accepted death. That's how people in Gaza are able to live, right? They're able to live because they already have accepted death as a reality. And that is the reality of everyone in Gaza. And that's what I want people to understand, that like, even if the war was to stop today, the genocide was to stop today, right? Yeah. The trauma, how traumatized this group of individuals is. And I think a lot of countries also know behind the scenes that if, they were to ethnically cleanse Gaza, the people that are going to be leaving Gaza are all traumatized people that are going to need care and assistance for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And countries do not want to take that on. That's why they're trying to send them to South Sudan or Libya, to failed states where, there's going to be none of this care at all. And these malnutrition children are not going to have, their healthcare checkups because now they're going to have, metabolic syndromes for the rest of their life and they're never going to recover from what's happened. It's literally the level of famine that has been reached is now going to it's going to actually physically change the DNA of these children.
Yeah.
This is how traumatized everyone is in Gaza. And like, when I watch images like that and the videos like that, like I was there at those emergency departments when they would run in and they would bring these people into the emergency department and literally their arm would fall off or their leg would be severed. They would bleed out onto the floor and you would see them gargling and choking on their own blood. And it would be dozens of them on the floor and there's no triage. So you would just pick and choose who you would have to go and see and care for. And the bombs would still, like you saw there, like the bombs outside the emergency department, the bombs would be going off all around you. I remember so many times I thought to myself, this is the end now. Like we are dead. Like there is no way they're bombing 50 meters away from the hospital, 20 meters away from the hospital. Everyone's a target. Children are targets, journalists, paramedics. Like it's a slaughterhouse there. There's nobody that goes to Gaza that comes out of there and goes, yeah, no, this is not a genocide. Every single person that comes out, even when we were leaving with the UN, because you have to leave through a Middle East, you have to leave through a convoy. The UN convoy takes you from the UN compound. You have to go to the UN compound. You all get in cars, you wear these helmets and these things, and you leave. Do you know, I kid you not, even the UN security guys who are in constant communication with the IDF when they leave because we get a green light, red light, even they were scared.
Yeah.
Even they were scared that we were going to get bombed.
They've shot at UN
killed them.
convoys. Yeah, they've shot at UN convoys as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Like it's the wild, wild west. You have to, when you go there, you have to be prepared for shit like this. You have to be prepared for the fact that they will double hit, that they will literally kill in front of the whole world's eyes journalists, doctors, nurses, kids. There's no limits to this. It's utter carnage over there. And you know, my worry is when I look at this and I look at my family and stuff like that, I'm just like, they're never going to recover from this. Like, I don't know what to tell them at the end of this. What do? We have lost 1 million children. Whether they survive or not, those 1 million children, they've spent 2 years out of school. They've not had any of their vaccinations. They're all malnutrition. They've all got PTSD, the highest rate of children amputees in the world, the highest rate per capita of orphaned children in the world. What future do these kids have? And this is a group of kids that had a higher literacy rate, despite the conditions, than those in Israel.
Yeah.
And now look at them.
Yeah. No, I keep in constant contact with some of the, there's like a bunch of influencers in Gaza.
Yeah.
One of them actually was able to come to the United States of America recently. I think I told you about it. And I mean, that in and of itself is, I see that as like a major victory.
Yeah.
And that's the type of stuff that takes place that, like, you know, keeps me going in general. But even when I'm talking to people that are still stuck in Gaza, like we'll have like private, like I'll be talking to them in Discord, right?
Yeah.
And there's just bombs going off in the background, and he doesn't even care. He's just like, yeah, what are you gonna do? This is like no child. I mean, this kid's 16. Like, he shouldn't be used to that. Yeah, it's insane that like this is just a part of everyday existence to such a degree that it's not even something that you bat an eye at when it's like an explosive ordinance that could wipe you out in a moment.
Do you know? Because obviously, like, you know, I'd stay at my cousin's house and stuff like that, and I remember like my cousins have, you know, some of them are old enough that they have kids that are like 8 and 9, and I remember there was a bomb that went off and the room was shaking, and I thought, because of the shaking of the room, I thought that the bomb was close, and I panicked and jumped out of, like, because I was in the bed, I jumped out of the bed and I was like, all panicked. I was like, do we have to run? Like, is it close by? And one of these kids started laughing at me. He went, no. He goes, that's far away. I went, how can you tell the difference? And he was like, oh, because of the reverberations. Like, we know that that's far away. And he goes, and if you listen, see that F-35 that you hear? That is the sound that F-35 makes is one that's already dropped its payload. If you can hear it, it means it's not going to bomb you. It's when you can't hear it, that's when you know it's going to bomb you. And these kids literally taught me so much about when to panic and when not to panic. You know, when you would hear drones in the air, you're safe, because it's when you don't hear them, that's when you know that they've given the coordinates, they've cleared the way for an airstrike to come in, right? And these kids in Gaza, they know so much about when bombs are going to go off, when they're not going to go off, when it's okay to hear a bomb go off in the background and continue playing. And you see these images of kids continuing to play despite a bomb going off in the background. Yeah, that's how used to it they are. Honestly, man, I don't know what's going to happen in 10, 15 years' time. How these children are going to be when they have kids. Are they going to be emotionally shut off? What's going to happen to them? Like, that's what I always think about. Like, what's going to go on to these 1 million children? What are they going to grow up to be? Are they all going to be sociopaths, psychopaths after this?
The dark irony of this is that the only comparison that you can think of in modern age is like the trauma that Jewish people had in the aftermath of the Holocaust. Like what takes place for that kind of recovery after whole scale slaughter. Yeah. One of the insane aspects of this is that the dehumanization still persists, though.
Yes.
I just like you have your story with Anas, like there was a journalist that I was in constant contact with, Hasan Piker, in North Gaza, and he stayed in North Gaza till the very end, even after Israel had basically signed off on his assassination. Yep. And that was the same calculation that I had made in my mind, where it's like, if I have him on the broadcast, because he wanted to come on the broadcast, but I was like worried that would be that would be his death sentence for sure.
Yes.
And I also feel terrible that I didn't end up, like, I didn't have time to to actually put together an interview with him because of that. Part of that was the calculation. Part of that was because there was just constant internet shutoffs, and even now, I think when there are certain people that I want to highlight, I have to be very careful because in my mind I'm thinking like if they're seen, if they're seen by the Israeli state, then they could be considered a target. Even people in this day and age, like even people that are able to escape, even people that have come to the United States of America, like I worry that the American government, for no reason whatsoever, as they've attempted to do to like Mahmoud Khalil, for example, a green card holder, could just like send them somewhere else because they're so like. What I'm trying to say is like even when people are here, that racism still persists. Even when people have made it out of Gaza, even when they have been brought into the country, it means like all the background checks have been cleared. There's still that ongoing dehumanization, and the government could just like absolutely discard.
It's tough, man.
These people.
It's tough, and it's tough growing up.
I was even worried when you were coming in. I was like, I felt like they were going to stop you for sure. They were going to detain you for a little bit at least.
Yeah. I mean, I felt the same as well, but that's why I only bought you Tim Tams. I actually had some cool stuff that I was going to get you, some Palestinian stuff, but I was like, if they open up my bags and see this, there's no way I can talk this away. So I was restricted to like what I could bring, but look, I mean,
I have two communist buddies of mine from Australia that come every year. They're white. And they were like, we're not coming this year because they're like, I don't want to get deported.
Yeah. I mean, I'm worried about that as well. But, look, we're not, I've come here to try and change the hearts and minds of people in America. Now, look, I'm not a Hasan Piker, you know what I mean? I don't have the audience that you have, but I've built a following and an audience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like my message can resonate here in America because I am a son of a refugee. I'm Palestinian. I'm from Gaza. I've got a British accent. I'm a doctor who served on the front line there. Maybe I can talk to someone and swing something some way, but I just feel to myself like we're in the end game here.
Yeah.
And everyone has to do whatever they can. And if is the risk of me coming over here and something happening to me, then I have to take that risk. But I take that risk knowing that hopefully I could maybe make a change. And, obviously like I've been traveling around the world. I've been campaigning to try and get a children's hospital into Gaza and trying to get governments to support children. And listen, man, we've made headway. I've spoken with prime ministers of countries, with foreign ministers of countries. I've got countries to endorse it. I've spoken to major organizations as well that have endorsed us. I'm not just talking. We're actually doing stuff in the background and we're trying to make a change. But, everyone is so nervous even to say that they endorse what we're doing, because they're worried of the repercussions.
Yeah.
And, I'm just sat there and I'm like going, I'm just a doctor, man. I need help. I need, someone to take this forward. Because like I was saying about those kids, it's going to be a 10, 15-year process to rehabilitate these children. And no one's talking about the day after. I was so shocked when I found out with like regards to the UN, we would have to fill out a form when a child would come in and all their family would be dead. And that form would just be to clarify to the UN that there's an orphan child. After that form gets filled, nothing happens for that child. There's no care process for that child in Gaza, for that orphan. There's no help. There's no food. There's no money. That child then gets looked after by whoever. And when I was working at the European hospital, when I was there, we had like a whole ward full of just orphan kids. There was like 100 orphan children that had nobody, not even extended family. And the people looking after them were like, say, women that had their children that were injured in the hospital. And they would look after these orphan kids as well. And we would go around and give them sweets and chocolate. And I remember thinking to myself, like, the UN doesn't even know where these kids are. It knows that this child exists that's orphaned, but doesn't even know if they're still alive or dead. Doesn't know if they've been fed today or not. There is literally no day after plan for Gaza. So when I went round and went, let's get a children's hospital in, I literally thought that people would be like, yeah, we've got one in place. Like, this is what we've got. This is the infrastructure. This is how, mate, nothing. And I was there presenting to foreign ministers and prime ministers of countries, and they were like, this is a really good idea. It's really needed. And I'm like going, what? Like, have you not spoken to anyone about this? Like, are you not organizing this? Why is it some random junior doctor from the back end of Australia trying to organize a hospital for children in Gaza? Why is no one else doing this? Why is no organization picking this up? And this is, again, what I mean about the dehumanization of Palestinian people, and the dehumanization is just like they don't care whether there's a day after or not. They don't care.
It would be better if these people all died quietly.
100%.
With their calculations.
100%.
Like, that's it.
It's a headache.
It even is the same for Gulf leadership as well. Like, a lot of these guys, I mean, MBS has openly stated it before in private, where he's like,
it's a headache. It's a headache to him.
It's annoying. It's a nuisance.
It's a nuisance, yeah. The
Palestinians
Arabs
are being wholesale slaughtered by Israel.
Yeah, it doesn't help him.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean about, like, this is why it's so tough, right? Because I'm looking at it, I'm going, I'm just a doctor. I'm not a politician. I'm not a campaigner. I'm just a normal, regular dude. And yet I'm going out and I'm traveling around the world, risking my life, risking my livelihood, to try and get a day after plan by these countries, to try and get people to support what I'm trying to do. And honestly, Hasan, man, it's been hard, man, because people don't want to help, and people who do want to help don't want you to tell the world that they're helping. And it upsets me, because I'm thinking to myself, like, the people of Gaza deserve better than me. They deserve better than what I can do. But, like, I'm offering what I can.
Yeah.
I'm offering what I can to these people, and I know it's not much, man.
Even Heal was recently bringing in amputees, like children, for medical care that people like this community has fundraised for Heal as well. Like, private donors have given money to these organizations, and they got all the clearances. And then Laura Loomer makes one phone call, and then it's completely gone. Like that cruelty is so insane. Anyway,
I know, and we are up against it, man. As Palestinian people, we really are. And I wish there was someone better than me to try and help, man. Sorry, man. I get upset because you look at what they have. One phone call, and none of these children get any access to healthcare with one phone call.
And on the inverse, is one phone call to stop the bloodshed in its entirety. That's how much power America has over Israel.
And these people with one phone call, they have access to people with power. I don't. I have to fight for every second on that table with a prime minister and a president of a country, just to try and get the humanity of these Palestinian people.
Yeah.
I sometimes think to myself, like, how are we ever going to win here? How are we ever going to turn the tide?
Yeah.
With one phone call, or say I managed to convince Australian government to take in Palestinian kids, right? And I've spent months since coming out of Gaza. I've sold my car. I moved my stuff into a storage unit. I've got like nothing left, right? I've done all of this, right? Yeah. And imagine when one person with one phone call can undo.
Yeah.
I feel up against it, man. I really do. Sorry, man, for getting emotional on the street.
No, it's understandable. Yeah.
Do you know where and you're watching these kids getting slaughtered and starved to death.
Yeah.
And you just sat there and you're just like thinking to yourself, like, man, am I it? Am I really the guy? Do you know what I mean? I know there's loads of people that are campaigning and whatnot, but it's just like, sometimes it feels hopeless, man. Sometimes it feels hopeless.
Well, that's why you gotta focus on the small victories every step of the way, right? Like that's what gives me so much hope, no matter what. Because you're Palestinian, you've seen the attitude broadly change in Western society over such a short period of time, right?
Yeah.
This is like, because I see a lot of people who are relative newcomers, especially even in my audience as well, who like don't understand what this dynamic used to be like. When you would say, I'm sure, like, if you were to tell people you're Palestinian, they'd be like, what do you mean, like Pakistan? Like, I don't understand, right? Like it was not even a thing that people knew about.
100%.
It was just like people were purposely blindsided or purposely kept in the dark about what was going on, because this didn't start on October 7.
Yep.
This has been an ongoing thing for 80 plus years at this point. With more intense moments, never to this degree, of course. The violence, the unlimited bloodshed, but in that process, people at first were horrified and they thought, "Oh my God, America's allies attacked. What are you doing?" But slowly but surely, they started coming to that recognition, and they started learning more about the history of Palestinians, the vibrant society that Palestine used to be, and I try to hold on to that as like whatever hope there is for the necessary changes that need to be made. You know, and stories like yourself as well is very inspirational. And I think when you go out and speak about your own experiences, you give people more courage to do more in their own lives as well.
You know, it's just this is what a genocide does. You know, this is what a genocide does. People have to step up, be something that they're not. You know, and I'm trying, and I'm sorry, man, if I don't get this done for those kids, but I am sorry.
No, it's just people always are gonna have a yearning for freedom. It's the purest motivation that everybody has. So ultimately, I think the dam will break, and we're near. So I don't know, the way I tell people in my audience when they feel like there's no hope is like, at the least you can motivate yourself through spite. For me, that sometimes is a powerful motivator as well, where I'm like, they want you to stop. They want you to stop speaking. They want you to go away. They want you to no longer be a nuisance. And, you know, even if I'm not, but even if I was suicidal, I'm not. I would be like, I am not ending this before I see the end of this apartheid, this genocide, and Zionism. I'm not, you know, I'm gonna keep going no matter what.
You're 100% right. 100% right. Never give up. You know, look, you know, just because I get emotional doesn't mean I'm going to give up. It's just because I feel the weight of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you feel the weight. It's your family being killed. It's your people being killed. It's your home being destroyed. And, you know, you sat there and you go into these rooms and, like, you're asking for crumbs. You know, like, sometimes because, you know, I've met prime ministers of countries in private meetings. I'm not even allowed to talk about it, right? But, you know, I met, like, prime ministers of countries. I've met presidents. I've met foreign secretaries. And, like, you have to go in there and you have to be so calculated, right? I can't go in there and be like, I need you right now to stop sending the bombs and sanction, because they're not going to do it, right? But what I do is I go, can we at least get a dialysis machine? Can we get a CT scanner into Gaza? Do you know, like that's what I'm asking for. And I'm like, that's all I can do. That's all I can ask for. I don't, you know, because we don't have, as Palestinians, as the Muslim world, like, you know, we don't have people in high offices. We don't have people that can fund election campaigns. You know, we are trying to appeal to the humanity of people. And when you're trying to appeal to the humanity of people, like, you're trying to appeal to someone's humanity that has had billions of dollars of brainwashing done from an early age. Like, how do I break that down in a single meeting? How do I break that down in 30 minutes with this meeting with this minister? Can we get them to change their mind?
I think the other side of this is that you do have the people backing you.
100%.
Like, the overwhelming majority of Western society is aware. Even if they don't fully understand it, they are aware of the black and white aspect of this issue, because it is a genocide. So that, you know, you just gotta keep pushing and become an undeniable force, because the reality of the matter is, like, this is not only a destructive force for Palestinians first and foremost, but it's also increasingly becoming a destructive force for the ticker tape that holds Western liberal capitalist democracies together.
100%.
Because people are recognizing, like, this is ridiculous. This is insane. You say you're like a defender of liberalism, you're a defender of democracy, you're a defender of children. Meanwhile, our weapons and our tax dollars are funding this wholesale slaughter of children, and you like we are demanding you put an end to this. There's laws already existing in the books to put an end to this automatically, and yet you are not you're not tackling this issue at all, and it's causing people to realize that maybe the systems that we exist under are not so democratic either.
100%.
And I think they don't realize that. I don't like. I think some Western leaders do realize that, which is why they try to do like these aesthetic pressure valves that they try to release. Like, oh, we're gonna do a conditional recognition of Palestinian state. It's like, what do you mean a conditional recognition of Palestine?
Yeah. Like our freedom is conditional.
Yeah.
Do you know? I always think about this, right? Yeah. When I think about this, because like obviously people want to play this as a religious conflict, right? Yeah.
Oh my.
And, they always talk about like, say for example, the story of David and Goliath, and, they try and make it look like Israel is David in this, and it's surrounded by all these countries, and it's just this small nation surrounded by all these things. But there's one story here that always fascinates me, and I always relate it to what's happening in Gaza, and that's the story of Moses, right? When Moses led the Jewish people out from under Pharaoh and parted the seas and gave them their freedom, right? Yeah. This was a defenseless population against the mighty army of Pharaoh. The sea was what blocked them, and he hit his staff and he parted the seas, and they got their freedom, right? Yeah. And I look at it and I say, that's the same thing that's happening right now in Palestine. You have a genocidal army that wants to wipe out this defenseless population, and they're surrounded by, instead of the Red Sea, the Mediterranean Sea. So they're surrounded by the sea on one side, and on the other side, they're surrounded by this army. But it's not Moses and his staff parting the seas. You know what it is that the Palestinians have done? Because, it always rhymes. These things always rhymes. The Palestinians, the staff that they've put, hasn't parted the seas. It's parted people's hearts. It's opened people's hearts. It's metaphorical what the Palestinians have opened. They have opened the eyes of the world to the atrocities of what goes on behind the scenes, to this myth of liberal democracies. That's what Palestine did. That's what the staff of Moses has done in this story. It's not parted the seas. It's parted the darkness, and it's set a light on people. And that's what I feel like. If you want to talk about this from a religious point of view, that's what I feel like this is, like spiritually. I feel like it's been an awakening for the whole world. I feel like the Palestinians have opened up the eyes and the ears and the hearts of so many people. There were people that hated Muslims, and they looked at the grace in which these Palestinian people accept their death. And it's made non-Muslims come to Islam. It's made Muslims that weren't practicing Islam come to Islam. It's made people lose their jobs in defending a group of people that they have nothing in common with. It's made people go out of their way to start movements. You see people who are like, plumbers and this, that, and they're all part of now the Friends for Palestine of a small village somewhere in Australia or the UK that never had one before. And that's what Palestine has done. And, no matter how much they destroy it, the staff has already parted the seas. They have already opened the eyes and ears of everyone. And that's it. It's too late. The genocidal army is not going to win. And, killing and death for Muslim people, especially, they see that as just the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another. And that's why they don't look at this as a defeat. And no matter how many battles, like I say, Israel wins on the battlefield, they have lost the war. The war is lost. And Palestine will be free, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow. Palestine will be free. And I believe that in my core, in my heart, that we will be free. But it's just a matter of how many of us are going to be killed, how many of us are going to die before we have Palestinian freedom. But I believe it in my heart. I believe that they have parted the seas, they have parted the ways, and they've opened up everyone's hearts.
Yeah. It's beautifully put. I gotta feed you now.
Yeah.
That's gotta.
Well, you gotta give me some drinks as well, man.
Yeah, no, I gotta feed you now for sure. Okay,
Yeah.
Let me see this real quick. Hold up. We got. So where else are you visiting, by the way, while you're here?
So we're going to Detroit for the People's Conference for
Palestine. I'm gonna be there too.
You're gonna be there?
Yeah. I'm gonna be there as well. So I'll see you there too. I'm gonna hang out with. Oh, we could also do a.
What?
Wait, hold on. Let me fix these banners. They keep getting busted. I'm gonna be hanging out with the mayor of Dearborn.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
And also with Dr. Abdul El Sayed.
Nice.
He's running for Senate in Michigan.
Oh yeah.
And they both work out.
Oh, nice.
So I'm gonna do like a workout stream with them.
All right, nice.
So if you got time, maybe we can have you show up too. Show people. Yeah, there you go. You guys can't tell, but he's flexing because he's wearing a black shirt, but he's moving his titties.
Yeah, man. You know what? I miss lifting. I used to lift so much, man, back in the day. Whoa.
Yeah.
I miss. You know, look, man. This whole thing has consumed me. Has consumed my life the last few months. Like I say, I've traveled to like 11 different countries in the last few months. Just yeah, man. Just trying to build momentum for this children's hospital. Trying to get people to back a children's hospital so we can start building a kids hospital and get it into Gaza and start saving these kids, man.
Damn.
And then after that,
are closed.
and then after that, we can, you know, after that, I can go back to lifting again and become the beast from the Middle East.
You're still the beast from the Middle East. What are you talking about? You're massive.
Yeah. Well, you know, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I hit pretty hard as well.
Yeah, I bet. See, I didn't do any MMA training. I didn't do any martial art training. I only play basketball for my cardio in general.
Yeah.
I need to get into that.
Yeah, you do. You need to get some jiu-jitsu, man. Jiu-jitsu is amazing.
I don't even know how can anybody even take you down? You're too big.
Oh, trust me,
You're too large.
Do you know
how
when
did they even do leverage?
When I came to LA last time, it was to compete at the Worlds, right, for jiu-jitsu, right, and it was in the gi, and I got to the semi-final, right, and if I won this match, then I'd be the next match would be fighting for the gold, and you know, I'd beat some pretty big guys, like bigger guys than me, so I was feeling confident, and then when I went in, the guy that beat me. Right, this guy absolutely ragdolled me, but he was like a black belt in judo, and he'd fought for the Iranian Olympic judo team, but he was competing as a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, which I felt was like sandbagging badly, and he absolutely ragdolled me. Like he threw me around bad. Like, you know, I just didn't even know how I could face. I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I was ragdolled that much. I'd never been thrown around so much in my life. You know what I mean? I felt helpless.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, man. But, you know, it was a lesson learned.
Yeah. So what do you want to eat, first of all? Let's start there. Because we got different options. But all the Mediterranean, like Middle Eastern
just
places
like,
that I usually order from are closed right now. I don't know why.
I don't know, man. You know better than I do, man.
But
like,
what kind of food do you like to eat? Let's start there.
Well, not pork.
Yeah, of course. Don't worry, I got you.
Listen, man, listen. This will be my first meal in the States, so like, you know.
Damn! Now I gotta make it. something special. Then I can't just give you. I can't just give you like.
Don't give me some of that cheap stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry, man. I said I've got you, bro. I said I will spot you. Don't worry, man.
Nah, that's crazy.
I said I'll spot him, guys. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, let's think.
But how many people do you have on the stream?
There's like 30,000 people watching right now.
That is crazy.
Yeah, almost 29,000 right now.
What's like the most you've ever had, like watching your one go?
During the last election, I had 314,000.
Bro, that's insane.
Yeah, that's like live concurrent viewers. So like the translation for like television metrics would be like 10x, or even more than that.
So do you clip like parts of this and then?
Yeah, people are already posting it on. I think it was Jason Palladino I just saw was posting a clip from the stream as well. We got like Drop Site that will sometimes post clips as well from the interviews, and then I also put it in on YouTube as a video on demand.
Do you have like anyone in your team working like in the background, like clipping stuff like this and putting it on, or do you do all this on your own?
I mean, I don't do the editing myself. I have editors, but yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I don't really have a team. I just have a couple people that do the edits.
Wow. It's crazy because like, obviously, like I was in the back listening to you, you know, while all of this was going on.
Yeah,
and I was just thinking to myself, man, how does this guy do it, man? Like you're able to talk on your own and run a show unscripted by yourself and be engaging.
Yeah,
that's a skill, man.
I try.
There's a guy on the right, dare I say his name,
Who
seems to be making a splash doing something similar.
Who is that? Not Nick Fuentes, I hope, because that motherfucker's a straight Nazi.
Well, yeah, he is. But
Yeah.
like, you know, look, there's a lot of infighting now between the right. I welcome it,
Yeah.
man. Let them eat each other alive.
Yeah. No, he is a nefarious force in my opinion, but because like there's a bunch of people like
Go on.
him, Candace Owens, and like a lot of these other people that are running around, and I can't get myself to believe that they genuinely do have care or consideration for like Muslims or Palestinians in general.
Yep.
But they're just like their hatred for Jews overall it creates a wonderful opportunity for them to just like keep focusing the efforts and focusing the intensity on Jewish people, and then they use Israel as a way to like broaden the enmity and the sentiment, like the anti-Israel sentiment. And I feel like that's because it's not born out of like a real desire for emancipation for Palestinians. Like there are many instances where they just like say ridiculous shit. And especially because like Marjorie Taylor Greene is who I was thinking of. Like she's been leading
wild.
Yeah, she's been leading the pack in Congress almost about like communicating this the horrible things that Israel is doing. But then when I like hear her talk to I think it was Megyn Kelly, they had a conversation, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Megyn Kelly. And like it's interesting because like she will constantly talk about like Palestinian Christians are being killed. And it's like, okay, but like all Palestinians are being killed. You know what I mean? It's not just Palestinian Christians. And then Megyn Kelly would be like, well, but don't you think that they're like really violent? I mean, think about Hamas. And she's like, well, yeah, you know what? They are violent. And it's like, what do you mean? The violence of the Palestinian resistance is born out of their conditions. Like they are born into a fucking concentration camp. Even Yahya Sinwar was born into a concentration camp. You know, like it's just like every single Palestinian that takes up arms against the state of Israel does so not because of like some animosity that they have towards Jews. That's a fucking ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement. Like they don't. Like over there, the dominant force is Israel. Over there, the in-group, the supremacist force is Israel, and they build themselves as like the Jewish nation and the Jewish force. So it's not like Palestinians are like going to I don't know, like bad Reddit forums or whatever and like learning about like
but what do you think?
Jewish tricks or something, or they get a copy of the protocols of Elder Zion or some shit.
But like, because obviously, look, like, you know, this like the pro-Palestine movement and Palestinian emancipation has to come from the left and the right. Now, what do you think the direction is of the right? Because they're never gonna be face to face with what the left feel about with the Palestinian situation. How do we get the right then on the side? Because obviously,
I think there are a lot of right wingers who see like burning children, and even if they aren't like, you know, anti-Semitic, I've seen it with like family members of people that I know that have like totally changed their attitude on this. I think the most effective way to tackle this for right wingers is use the selfish nature of Americans to be like, your tax dollars are going to Israel, or look at how much Israel is dominating American politics.
Like so the America first, like the real America first, not Charlie Kirk America first.
I think those are some of the most effective ways of getting Americans to be more angry. Like in my experience personally, I've seen there's different groups within the right. If you were talking to like an evangelical Zionist, it's impossible to convince them.
There's no way.
They just think like, no, they're both anti-Semitic. They think Jews
very
have like,
anti-Semitic.
Yeah, they're like Jews have horns and tails, but then they also turn around and they're like, but they're the chosen sons and daughters of God, so they have to go to Israel so that like the rapture can happen, right? Some of those guys are just hallucinating. It's very difficult to like have any sort of productive conversation with them. But there are plenty of Americans who have been taught that like Israel is a special place and we have to like defend it. It's a holy site, all this stuff. But when you, in my experience, like some of the most like radicalizing components of this has been when you tell them that like AIPAC has been able to successfully undermine the First Amendment in numerous American states, like 37 American states, where you have different
if you boycott,
anti-BDS,
if you boycott Israel,
anti-BDS legislation, like, or when they see stuff like
you can boycott the USA in those states,
yeah,
and the government would still support you.
Yeah, like when there's a loyalty pledge you need to sign to get hurricane relief. Like Americans see that stuff and they're like, "The fuck is this?"
Yeah.
So I think that's been fairly.
So it's
effective.
the selfishness of the right wing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even like this is not even selfish to be angry at that. Honestly.
No, it's not.
It makes perfect sense. You're like, why the fuck does a foreign nation get to dominate American politics and my own personal American liberties that I take for granted every day?
But why do you think these, like, I know it's because of money, because they get paid, but these like right wingers like Charlie Kirk and stuff like that, like why is he so invested in supporting Israel? At the behest of his own audience, who clearly
because he's a dog for the Republican Party. He's a attack dog. He'll say whatever he'll say whatever needs to be said, just like with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of Israel. With Jeffrey Epstein, like his audience was like, you've taught us that this is like a Bill Clinton affiliate and a fucking, pedophile sex trafficker. And now Trump is saying, oh, it's just like bullshit. Yeah. But he got a boss call from Donald Trump and he had to turn around and be like, I'm done talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Let's just stop talking.
I believe the government.
Yeah, I believe Trump. I believe the government. Trump's a good guy. So like they're mercenaries. You know, they don't have any.
I don't understand how like the right wing don't see that, because it's so obvious. Like,
yeah.
So why? Like, I don't get the infatuation. Because like, look, coming from an outside point of view, like as a non-American looking in, the ridiculousness of American politics is something to behold.
Oh yeah.
Like someone like a Charlie Kirk, like you'd go, he would never do well anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's why all the freaks from all around the world come here.
Yeah,
they'll get like Dr. Andrew Wakefield is like the premier anti-vaccine doctor. He was in England, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, your anti-MMR vaccine research was totally false. Like you just made it up."
He got struck off.
Yeah, he got struck off. Like, and he was no longer allowed to operate as a doctor.
Yeah,
or
he
a
lost his medical
researcher.
license.
Yeah. Where did he go? The United fucking States of America.
Yeah.
And now he gets to have a robust career as an anti-vax guy here.
Wow.
So all the freaks, we just bring them in here. We bring all of the freaks here.
Wow.
And we rehabilitate their image, and we do everything in our power to like prop them up. Even if it's harming the welfare of like regular American citizens. It's
But I feel like
incredible.
I also feel like American politics is having a knock-on effect all over
this
the
guy
world.
said free to leave. You're free to leave. Like, because he doesn't understand that this impacts him, because he's just like so predisposed with like hatred that he has in his heart for any naysayers of America that want to make America better.
But I don't even understand like the thing of like, you're free to leave. Why not am I free to try and help change for the better?
Yeah.
Do you know, like can we not want just better for the country?
Yeah.
You know, when he goes free to leave, why can't I stay here and make it better? Wouldn't that be the best outcome?
Yeah. It's just, they don't understand. They think like if you're criticizing America from a left perspective, you hate America and you want America to suffer and fail. If you criticize America from the right-wing perspective, however, then you're actually the most patriotic. If you're like, oh, we have too many black and brown people in this country, I fucking hate America, we need to like purge the black and brown people from our ranks, then you're actually criticizing America in the right way. Ironically enough, they're actively advocating to make America worse. Because they hate America and what it stands for.
Yeah.
But they own that patriotism. They own that side of the conversation, matter what.
But in saying that, I know you get a lot of grifters here in America, but you get some of the best activists in the world, some of the best thinkers in the world are here. Some of the best movements that come from here as well.
Yeah. Even if we can't implement it here.
You know what I mean? It's legit. It's a bit of, you know.
Let me see. What can I get you? I'm still thinking of like, you've never had real good Mexican food because you lived in Australia and you lived in
the UK. Yeah, no.
So like the Mexican food here is.
Let me just go grab my wallet.
What? Stop. That's not. I'm never gonna let you do that. You're out of your fucking mind.
Let me just grab.
So I gotta get you like a real ass. like a real ass Mexican meal, you know?
Yeah, man, it's gotta be some of the good stuff.
Yeah, so Chipotle. Nah, hold on. Let me think. There's a really good spot, but it'll take some time to get here. So
Okay.
how much time do you have?
I'm chilling, man. Look, because I literally arrived from 28 hours
know.
of flying and I came straight here. So I am like, I decided not to do anything else apart from this today because I didn't know whether I would survive doing another interview.
Do you eat shrimp?
Yeah, man.
I can get you a beef and shrimp burrito.
Bro, surprise me, man. Don't even just say, just do it. Just
Let
get
me
it,
see
man.
if there's anything in there that's like
That's haram.
yeah, no, nothing haram in there. I
Nothing
don't
haram, bro.
think. Okay.
Just give me some of the good stuff, man.
Oh, I got
Yeah,
you.
man. Just give me some of the good stuff, bro. Let me
Why are you saying
experience the culture.
you? My brother likes that one. I mean, if you want what I eat, I'll get you what I eat, which is
I didn't say ooh.
yeah, he said he likes
What? You're getting a lot of comments here.
a surf and turf.
Yeah, someone's got a good point here. You need to get Ben and Jerry's as well, because like, you know, we're on that whole free Palestine trip.
Yeah, you want here, I got you. Don't worry. This is from straight Ben Cohen. He gave these to me. Here you go. You can give it to some people as well and
What
make
is
them
that?
happy. It's free. It's a free Ben and Jerry's coupon straight from Ben Cohen himself.
So where do I go and get this from? Do I just have to go to a Ben and Jerry's store?
No, I think you can just like take it to a grocery store and they'll give it to you for free. I had Ben Cohen on the other day.
Nice.
Yeah.
What, you had Ben Cohen on?
Yeah, he was sitting right there.
Oh man, that's wild.
Yeah.
But you must have had some guests on here. You've had some guests.
I've had some crazy guests here. I've had Motaz, Aziza on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had.
What was that like with Motaz?
It's
He's very
It's-
traumatized.
yeah.
He's traumatized.
It's
man.
crazy, man. It's
I feel bad for the guy. He's so
it's-
traumatized.
Yeah, it's totally different. I've had the No Other Land guys on as well. Like when
Yeah.
you're in it,
Yeah.
like you can see the varying degrees of trauma. Like
100%.
Motaz being at like the peak of it, whereas like if you're in the West Bank, there's still so much trauma.
Yeah.
But then like, when I talk to Motaz, like it's very different than anyone else that's like been in and out of Gaza, as
Yeah.
opposed to like someone who was born there.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable. I mean, he's so much younger than me. He's 26 years old.
Yeah, but he's how old are you?
I'm 34. How old are you?
Yes.
I don't know, like 33.
I'm 35.
Okay. Yeah.
But hey, listen. This Asian don't raisin.
Yeah. No, you
know?
you look even younger than that, but I just assumed because you're a doctor that
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
have.
Yeah. No, I'm. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. I'm looking good for my age.
But yeah, when you have a conversation with them, you're like
Yeah, you're dealing with
Like-
some very, and this is what I mean about like
so much horrible stuff has
Yeah.
been done to this person.
yeah, and this is what I mean about like, you know, it's a whole. They've destroyed a whole nation in
Yeah.
Gaza. Like these people are going to be severely traumatized for God knows how long. I don't know how we rehabilitate them back to society.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's tough, man. It's tough. And yeah, I mean, I'm traumatized and I went to Gaza a couple of times, you know, during the war. I'm traumatized. I can't imagine what those guys are like, man. I feel bad for them. And, you know, Motaz is getting attacked a lot now as well.
Yeah.
You know, again, what I mean about the horizontal violence, you know, saying that he's some kind of collaborator and all that kind
Well,
of stuff.
that's because like there's a lot of like there's no room for disagreement in the minds of people,
Yeah.
even if they're like literally from Gaza, where they don't see it as like they don't see it as someone. They've seen so many, like Westerners have seen so many actual collaborators though.
Yeah,
That's part of the reason why I think like
Yeah.
people immediately slot them into like
yeah.
a person who has any sort of like disagreement with the
Yeah.
governing party is then treated with a lot of animosity.
Man, I got called the same thing. People calling me the same thing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like my my assessment of the situation is like there's a far graver problem here with respect to Israel, that like these are disagreements that are utterly irrelevant in this point.
100%. People
And
need
I
to.
think like even
people need to hear
Palestinians-
that. Yeah.
Even Palestinians that also personally fucking Palestinians that might not like Hamas in Gaza or Palestinians have left Gaza that feel that way.
And there's a lot of them as well.
Yeah,
People have to acknowledge that.
But like they will always say first and foremost that it is Israel.
100%.
I've never met a Palestinian that has been like, yeah, actually the real unless they're literally a collaborator.
No, because I was going to say, like, there are guys that are literally like, that just blame everything on the Palestinians themselves. Like, what's that guy called? The son of Hamas?
I hate that fucking. But he's a Mossad guy. Like, he literally
but
is.
like, the guy doesn't even acknowledge Palestinians exist. Like, that's when these guys. That's a proper collaborator. Look, I think what Palestinians need to understand is as Palestinians, we are very diverse. We're diverse in our thinking. We're diverse in our political beliefs. We're diverse in even our religion. And you can have two separate thoughts at the same time, and they both be valid, and they can both hold the same space.
Yeah.
And I think that's like one of the things that like a lot of people don't understand. And listen, if you've not had family members killed and destroyed, and you're not from there, you can't be calling someone like Mu'taz a collaborator. Look, and it's not to say that I don't understand people's criticisms, right, that they might have of him or whatnot, but like you can't go after a guy who literally put his life on the line, going over there, or was there filming, was wanted, was targeted. Like, people need to just back off and just hold a bit of space for these people, because these are heavily traumatized people, man. Like, we need to understand that, like, he's not thinking clearly anyway. A lot of these people that come out of Gaza aren't thinking clearly. Like, they've survived a Holocaust.
Yeah, I'm never gonna shit on a person that has experienced that, even if I disagree with them. It doesn't matter.
100%.
That's ridiculous.
100%.
And also the goal here is for Palestinians to have sovereignty and dignity.
100%.
And a part of that process is like that they get to hold their own democratic elections. And if they, and this is why I say it, like if they chose Hamas after that, then they chose Hamas after that. If they chose someone else, if they chose another group, then they chose another group. Like I have no say in this process.
Well, do you know what I always find fascinating about that? What you say about that is like, do you remember Sabra and Shatila?
Yeah.
The massacre of Sabra and Shatila. Who was convicted in an Israeli court as responsible for the massacre of over 3,000 women and children, essentially? Who was responsible for that?
I mean,
in Israeli court.
Yeah,
who did they deem?
Israel said it was a PLO and different Palestinian groups, but then I expect. Are you talking about the Phalangists?
Ariel Sharon. Ariel Sharon at the time was the defense minister, and he was found responsible in an Israeli court for the massacre of Sabra and Shatila. The ruling was that he was never allowed to hold public office again.
Yeah.
Right. What happened 15 years later? He became the prime minister of Israel.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the hypocrisy where he can massacre or be responsible for the massacre of thousands of Palestinians and still become the prime minister, and no one bats an eyelid. These are the kind of things where, because people don't understand the history, right? Yeah. They say some things that doesn't apply to the other side. And all I'm saying for Palestinians is I just want the same rights for Palestinians as Israelis have. That's all we want. Give us the same rights. Give us the same goalposts that you keep constantly moving for Palestinians. Just say, listen, man, like, that's always been the way with Palestinians, is there's a different set of rules that Palestinians have to play by and that Palestinians have to abide by. Like when they have this state has to be completely demilitarized. There has to be school reforms. Like what are you talking about?
No, it's ridiculous.